ladies and gentlemen, we will be starting in the interest of time so that we can start the cocktails at 5 o'clock. We request everybody to please settle down. Okay. The next presenter has been a mainstay in the cold chain events for almost a decade now. He has been known in the industry as the floor manager of cold storage and processing facilities. So thank you for the floor manager of the industry, Sandians Philippines. To present for Sandians is also a familiar face in the industry. We call him Paul, but according to the ladies, they call him anytime. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Mr. Paul Anytime Santos of Sandians Philippines.
Blessed good afternoon to everyone. As we are moving forward to face the gradual fading of COVID-19 pandemic era, our company remains stable, resilient, and growing. As our theme for this presentation emphasizes. Sandians Philippines Inc. Stronger at 24. Your partner in progress. CCAP, being our consistent and valued partners, and as gesture of our appreciation for your kind and constant support in our business endeavors, please bear in mind our pledge of commitments. Optimizing after-sales services. Dedicated to serve and taking care of our clients' business investments while maintaining the relationship of mutual trust and confidence. Deploys disciplined, well-trained personnel and modern surface preparation tools and equipments. So, as you can see, these are our equipments. Our supplier equipments are actually from US and Europe. So these machines has the capacity to surface prepare up to 300 square meters per day. This, by the way, is an example of our works during the pandemic area. So this is actually a cold storage that houses vaccines. So I believe the representatives of this cold storage are also with us here today. As part of our after-sales services, we have included surveys that will be given to our clients after a project has been completed. This is so we can be available physically and digitally. Provision of technical assistance. We provide the clients with system technical information as well as business market update to enable in utilizing the appropriate products and services for efficient operation. We have finally launched our website. Through this, we are bringing our products and services closer to the people locally and internationally. Here, they can find all the information they need. This also includes photos of projects, of course with our clients' permission, that we have done in the past. So these are some of the references that is available in our website. So if our clients have more questions and would request a quote, they can easily tell us about their flooring needs by sending us a message straight from our website. For financial assistance, we extend affordable and flexible credit terms to available clients without charging of any interest in aid of maintaining financial sustainability. Corporate responsibility. We as a company continue in engaging in charity works for various foundations, religious congregations, and victims of calamity. Supports community environment protection program. So as you can see here, this is a calamity. This is a calamity that happened in Mindanao. So we have a social responsibility. We help them in a way that we can. Specialty product innovation. We also produce Secret HF Ultra Freeze hybrid flooring polyurethane mortar floor. It is formulated for application at cold storage and freezers facility at -20 degrees Celsius. This cures in just 1 hour after application. So this is one of those applications. As my closing message, please allow me to play Sanchen's audiovisual presentation shown in 2019 CCAP Annual Membership Conference to refresh business operation management and accomplishment during the COVID-19 pre-pandemic period. Please watch.
51 years of experience. Sundance Philippines Incorporated. We are known in the industry for our experience, quality, and our first-rate customer service, ensuring a viable industrial base that can support and sustain the increasing needs of polyurethane floor protection system. As a material manufacturer and service provider, Sundance Philippines maintains its position as the leading player in the business as it continues to grow, prosper, and become a stable and reputed company. It holds true to its mission to provide the modern and efficient engineering methods for their clients in the construction and manufacturing businesses. The company was established in 1998 and engaged in the supply and installation of floor protection system. Within the same year, Sundance Philippines Incorporated forged strong tie-ups with leading international brands. This ensured durability and strength of the products created by the company. More than 2 decades of production knowledge and experience in the industry, it continues on with its progressive operation and technical expertise. As it intensifies various programs for expansion by purchasing and utilizing modern surface preparation tools and equipment, delivery trucks, and construction of material storage facility in Cavite, Cebu, Davao, and General Santos City to service customers' growing demand nationwide. It is backed by disciplined and highly skilled manpower capable of installing 3,000 square meters a day of the advanced flooring system. And today, Sandians Philippines has installed more than 1 million square meters of surface protective coating system. Sandians Philippines Incorporated, as it prospers in the local market, is as well having good business in some Asia-Pacific region, including Myanmar, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Papua New Guinea. Sandians Philippines Incorporated mobilizes improved operation system, providing the clients with high quality level of service, thus getting tremendous sales beyond our goal. Sandians Philippines Incorporated has a list of clients that proves and attests to the dependability of the company, its dedication to service, and the durability of its products. Successful in winning consistently the trust and confidence of those facility owners related to cold storage, blast freezing, food processing, restaurant, among others. Sandians Philippines Incorporated, with the support of its numerous business partners, enables to promote its advocacy program for social responsibility. Sandians Philippines Incorporated at 21, soaring high, strong and stable.
Sandians Philippines, we are forever grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Sandians Philippines. Ang sabi nga nila, ang bago nilang tagline ngayon sa Sandians Philippines, ang inyong floor ever. Okay. Okay, before I go to our next speaker, I'd like to recognize the presence of Mr. Lex Aguilado from the Philippine Association of Meat Processors, Inc. Mr. Lex, good afternoon. Okay. Our next speaker is a faculty member of the Department of Agribusiness Management and Entrepreneurship, DAME College of Economics and Management of the UP Los Baños, and is the commodity expert for the ACME ASEAN project designated to develop the Philippine Processed Pork Roadmap. She finished Bachelor of Science in Agriculture, major in Animal Science, and completed Masters of Management in the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. Before she joined the academe, she was a manager at Jollibee Foods Corporation, where she had hands-on experience on every facet of store operations management. As an academician, she has served as a consultant to several government-funded agribusiness-related projects and has served as a resource person to various training and workshops on human resources, organizational and operations management, and entrepreneurship, among others. She has also published journal articles and has presented several papers at both local and international conferences. In 2018, she obtained the Best Paper Presentation Award on Cooperative Performance during the 2018 International Conference on Cooperatives. She was also awarded as 2018 CEM Outstanding Researcher at the College of Economics and Management and was a member of the 2020 CEM Outstanding Research Team. She was also a recipient of the 1 UP Faculty Grant Award for Outstanding Teaching and Research from 2019 to 2021. As a UP faculty performing teaching, research, and public service activities, it is her goal to significantly contribute to achieving the goals and aspirations of her department, which is to empower students to become innovative leaders and game changers, to engage in research that responds to issues affecting our stakeholders, communities, and society, and to forge partnerships, to create solutions and provide services that contribute to inclusive growth in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, Assistant Professor Noreen Ethel P. Manipol, is unable to join us in person, but she has actually sent a video of her doing the presentation because she's actually feeling unwell at the moment, but she endeavored to provide us a video of her presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for the Cold Chain Association of the Philippines Incorporated for inviting our team to be one of the presenters for today's very important conference. So on behalf of my team, I'd like to congratulate CCAP for its anniversary and its conference. Unfortunately, I cannot join you in person because I'm still under the weather, but nevertheless, I'll be sending a video for our presentation. Thank you. So our paper is entitled The Philippine Processed Pork Industry Roadmap, Moving Towards an Inclusive and Sustainable Industry. I'm Assistant Professor Noreen Ethel Manipol of the Department of Agribusiness Management and Entrepreneurship at the College of Economics, UPLB College, Laguna. And I also served as the commodity expert for this project. So this project is part of the IFAD IFPRI Circa project on agricultural transformation and market integration in the ASEAN region. So our team is composed of Assistant Professor Jewel Joanna Escobardo, my colleague also at the department. She's the team leader and agribusiness value chain expert. We also have with us Ms. Leilani Embriosos McDonald, the industry expert or private sector representative. And we also commissioned Ms. Rio Mara Sila Guerta to assist us in writing and also in coordinating with the stakeholders. So the outline of my presentation would be as follows. So first would be about the rationale. Where are we now? Where are we going? And how do we get there. So this is a typical outline of a commodity roadmap. So for the processed pork industry to be really inclusive, we have to incorporate the role of smallholder agriculture in upgrading and scaling up the value chain. And hence this roadmap. We envision a globally competitive, inclusive, and sustainable Philippine processed pork industry by 2020. So for the methodology, we have attended a pre-roadmap training workshop. So this was led by Dr. Roelano Briones of the PRDP last April 7 to 9, 2021. And then we also had our inception workshop and policy roundtable discussion in February. And from February to March, we conducted a series of stakeholders consultation workshops. And we are highly grateful for CCAP, particularly for Sir Anthony Dizon for playing a very active role in our stakeholders consultation workshops. And furthermore, sometime between March to April, we also conducted field interviews among LGUs and other stakeholders like the smallhold farmers, the traders, the processors, among others, to further enrich our information. So you can see several agencies who participated in our stakeholder consultation workshops. So these agencies came from the government, private sectors, and even NGOs, and also cooperatives and academic sector. So let's start off where are we now? So in terms of Philippine pork production, we can see that backyard farms dominate the industries. But through the years, there has been an increasing trend when it comes to the number of commercial swine farms in the country. And we have here the hog population by farm type, although this has been changed during the advent of the ASF and the pandemic. So it's important to note that the Philippine pork industry is also integrated in the Philippine processed pork industry. Hence, we really cannot avoid but also to touch on this aspect, as the value chain is quite integrated in nature, and we also made a holistic approach as well as multi stakeholder approach in our analysis towards the development of the Philippine processed pork industry roadmap. When it comes to the average annual pork production by country from 2010 to 2019, we can see that Vietnam is the leading, followed by our country. So still we get to see a little bit of bigger discrepancies in terms of volume of production. As for the 2020 top 3 producing or pork producing countries, we ranked 11 in the world. As for the pork exporters, so this is led by Spain, Canada, and US respectively from 2020 to 2021. So this figure shows the Asian ASF status in December. So there have been new outbreaks reported in the areas with red shade. As for the live hog prices in selected Asian countries, we can see that there has been a generally decreasing trend from November to up to sometime in May, but then it gradually increased, and it's very evident that the Philippines so far has the highest price per kilo live weight. So this is a challenge for us on how to drive the prices lower compared to our ASEAN counterparts. So this graph shows us the trend with regards to the hog or pork prices in the country. So from January 2019 to 2022. So there is a general increase in terms of the price trend for farm gate prices, dressed weight prices, and prices of pork belly. As for the impacts of ASF on the Philippine pork industry in December, so you would notice that on the right side, at least only fewer areas are now considered as under the red zone, but in on the left side, it's quite scattered all over the country. So this diagram shows the movement flow of live pigs, pork, and pork products. So the green zone is considered as the free zone, while for the red, it's the infected zone. So it's really very important to be guarded when it comes to the border control to prevent the spread of ASF virus. As of May 2022, so our situation has improved a lot. And when it comes to the effect in terms of the pork production per region, so there has been a change when it comes to the ranking. Like for 2020, it used to be Calabarzon, or Central Luzon, I mean, followed by Calabarzon, and then we have the one in Mindanao. But for 2021, Central Visayas took the lead when it comes to the pork production volume, and also in Mindanao and then Western Visayas. Okay, so there has been 12.4 reduction in terms of the total swine inventory comparing 2020 October and 2021 October period. So then we also have 6.6% reduction from 2010 to 2020 due to ASF. So this figure shows the percentage contribution of swine production in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So in Luzon, for the 10-year period, it's been mostly dominated by Central Luzon, while for Visayas, it's generally by Western Visayas, and for Mindanao, it's led by Northern Mindanao. In this figure, we get to see the differences in ranking. So in 2019, as mentioned earlier, it used to be Central Luzon, Calabarzon, and Western Visayas as top producing regions in the country when it comes to pork production. But this has been changed in October, wherein we had Western Visayas, Central Visayas, and Northern Mindanao respectively. But then in January 1, 2022, we also observed a change in ranking. This time around, Calabarzon went up to the third rank. Hopefully, it will be able to catch up as a result of the various programs to repopulate and to make the swine industry of the country to recover. As for the post-production activities, so we have identified the cold storage warehouses as very essential in this aspect. And we have 209 as of April 2022. We also have 102 accredited slaughterhouses, but only a few are considered as AAA. But we have 93 AA slaughterhouses and 2 to 4 AA slaughterhouses on the average per province. On the other hand, there are many local registered meat establishments that are operating in each province, but there are a lot of issues associated with this in terms of sanitary and hygiene protocols, which are not usually observed, and lack of responsibility and inadequate training among workers, inadequate equipment, and absence of appropriate solid waste management, and also lack of water treatment facilities. So this would be quite detrimental to the food safety of the product as well as the quality and sanitation. As for the meat processors, so 25% of the total pork consumed in the country is processed. And in 2019, the domestic processed meat sector was valued at around 300 billion with an annual growth of 6 to 7%. So when it comes to the raw materials for local meat processing, around 85% is comprised of imported meat, which usually comes from Europe, Canada, and US. So we also had around 270,000 to 420,000 tons per year of imported pork. So there are also several issues identified in terms of the large meat processors' requirements are not adequately complied with by locally produced raw materials due to the following reasons. One is in terms of specifications. So there is a mismatch on the local production versus the requirements specified by the meat processors. And in terms of cost consideration, it's a lot cheaper for meat processors to import their raw materials. And as for the volume, so they also get to achieve constant volume if they import. And there is inadequate support when it comes to refrigeration and cold chain facilities. So this is where your industry would come in. And on the other hand, small processors usually use locally produced pork. So as for the projected revenue in the Philippine processed meat segment from 2014 to 2026, so we get to see an increasing trend. So this is also considered as an opportunity for the cold chain industry to take advantage of. So we have the various products on cold and roast meat products, ham and bacon, and sausages. Okay, as for the projected volume in million kilograms, so there is a projected increasing trend as well. For the volume of imported pork, so we have imported usually the rind or the skin, or I mean the pork cuts, various pork cuts, as well as the offals, bellies, fats, among others. So the pork imports that require cold chain storage has more than doubled between 2010 and 2018. So this now becomes both an opportunity and a challenge for the cold chain industry. As for the demand for cold storage, we have for NCR 40%, Luzon 40%, Visayas 40%, and Mindanao around 30 to 40%. So the pork and processed pork products and its raw materials entail transport and storage mechanisms, such as the cold chain, that would help maintain a prescribed temperature to ensure the quality of pork until it reaches its destination. So currently, there are only 50% of the country's cold storage warehouses that are NMIS accredited for meat products. And this would imply that it would lead to overcapacity, or could also underserve the needs of the industry. Yeah, furthermore, low education or even awareness on food safety and cold chain management hampers the facilitation and commitment of stakeholders in the cold chain industry. So we really have to educate the various stakeholders of the industry when it comes to the importance of cold chain facilities, particularly in maintaining the food safety of our products, and also in ensuring that the products would arrive at its targeted destination on time. So we have here the top meat processors in the country, particularly the San Miguel, CDO, and Century Pacific Food Incorporated. As for the global and Southeast Asian meat market, there has been an improvement of technology being used, like robotics, and also better labeling of products. In other countries, of course, they already have established a traceability system, which our country would still have to improve on. And another characteristic of the market would be its flexibility of business activities and operations. And there has been a slow growth rate being projected, and of course, a shortage of raw materials. In terms of the effect of COVID-19 on processed pork industry, so the traders, retailers, processors, and producers all point to the coinciding ASF as the more severe source of disruption for the hog and pork industry rather than COVID-19, though COVID-19 might have helped arrest the spread of ASF. There has been also an oversupply of pork meat in Mindanao, but this led to higher inter-island shipping costs and logistical restrictions due to COVID-19. As for the consumer habits, we have observed a change in terms of preferences. Like, for instance, there has been an increase in meat sales by 34% due to home cooking, and buying meat products from supermarkets and even through e-commerce have flourished. And there has been a change in shopping methods, And the consumer purchases online increased to 38%. Hence, the various stakeholders must be able to adjust to this changing consumer behavior. We are to be market-oriented. As for the reasons for purchasing different meat or poultry items than usual, so the top 3 reasons would be in terms of cooking more meals and need more variety, looking for better value due to the increasing price of the commodity, and cooking new recipes. But of course, there are other reasons like looking to freeze or stock up. So this would have an implication with regards to the supply and the use of cold chain facilities, among others. On this figure is the processed pork value chain map of selected regions in the country. So as mentioned earlier, our team conducted a field survey in regions 3, 4A, 6, 11, and 12. And we have mapped out the pork value chain in the selected region. So this implies that there are different modes. Some would be coming from co-op field meal. Some have their own feed mills, and they also have their own farms, like the case of cooperatives, and they also have the co-op supermarket where they would sell their produce. But one very important thing that the team noticed was a sort of disconnect between the producers of hogs as well as the processors, as the processors would prefer imported meat, and the hog producer would usually prefer to sell their hogs on a live weight basis, or if their hogs have just undergone slaughtering, so more on the hot meat thing. Okay, so we also got some insights from our field survey, particularly among these stakeholders. Like for the case of hog raisers, they would need financial assistance or better insurance program to acquire better genetics for their hogs, training in biosecurity, ASF control, and farm management. We also asked them about their knowledge about the good animal husbandry practices on swine, and unfortunately, almost all of them didn't know about this. We also identified the important role of cooperatives in organizing farmers and input procurement and consolidation effort. And there have been a presence of some good practices among them. As for, like, for example, there were also backyard farmers who stopped swill feeding when they knew that swill feeding is one of the major agents for ASF. As for the traders, they are highly organized when it comes to their operations for information and price sharing as well as knowledge sharing. The live hog traders are very keen on connecting with processors, and they are really important when it comes to linking the farmers with the market. As for the processors, small processors were found to be needing assistance through financing incentives and facilities and equipment provision as well as trainings. As for the major challenges and prospects of the processed pork industry, These are as follows. For challenges, so the industry is vulnerable to price fluctuation due to high cost of inputs, particularly the feeds, and this has been even compounded by the situation in Ukraine. In addition, there is high vulnerability of backyard farms to highly contagious animal diseases because of the lack of access or maybe inadequate access to vaccines, and also poor biosecurity practices. Moreover, we also have technical mismatch of locally available uh, pork produced against meat processors specifications. And there has been changing consumer preferences to vegan and health and wellness. And these slaughterhouses are which are properly enforcing policies are considered as unpopular. As for the prospects, we can also develop our native pigs for lechon, which is also considered as a processed form of the product, and also an opportunity to develop local feed mixes, to find alternative sources of feeds, as well as trading posts for live hogs, and also product differentiation for value addition when it comes to organic pork processed products, and a relatively increasing demand for the product by the OFW communities. So we also situate the processed pork industry alongside with the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in crafting the vision mission of the industry. So for the vision, again, this is the output of the various stakeholders who attended our consultation workshops. And through that process, hopefully we get to get their commitment as well in realizing this vision. So by 2027, we envision a globally competitive, inclusive, and sustainable Philippine processed pork industry that would contribute to food security and One Health, supports local pork production, and fosters leadership, entrepreneurship, and interdependence across the value chain actors at various levels of operation. So this is actually encompassing and somehow represents the food system approach when it comes to crafting this roadmap, because we also considered the sustainability as well as the nutrition side. So we have several missions as well. So we aim that the processed pork industry would contribute to food security, enhance competitiveness, inclusiveness, and improve quality and volume of processed pork industry, and also enhance the activities of all local hog producers and processors, provide appropriate enabling environment and support mechanisms, and also, of course, very important, effective participation of smallhold producers and processors, and foster collaboration among the government, industry, and as well as academia for the programs and interventions that would benefit the entire processed pork supply chain. So alongside with those mission, we have crafted these objectives. We encourage smallhold farmers to, as well as processors, to participate even more actively across the value chain, and also improve the practices and strengthen resiliency of smallhold farmers and processors, increase production and production efficiency of the various players along the value chain, and improve live animal handling and primary processing, slaughter practices, and to establish highly organized marketing system strengthened by security policies and measures in the farms and abattoir, and also ensure the quality and safety of processed pork products sold in the market, and establish accessible, reliable, and relevant industry information systems. So to achieve those objectives, the stakeholders have crafted the various strategy. So this is a glimpse of the roadmap. So you see there the vision, mission, yeah, the objective, and corresponding strategies like capacity building, technology, and infrastructure support, where whole chain facilities would come in, the product and market development and linkage support, financing, investment support, and establishment and strict implementation of standards, policy harmonization and development, as we have identified that across the value chain, there has been some or have been some conflicts when it comes to the policies. Some benefit certain stakeholders, while some policies harm them. Then recalibration of research and development agenda on biosecurity and food safety, and of course establishment of industry information system. So far, most of the data on processed meat industry is aggregated. We have a hard time, getting information on processed pork as a separate entity. So hopefully we get to disaggregate the data through this. As for the priority programs, you have the ASF prevention and rehabilitation program, hog repopulation and breed improvement, farm clustering, consolidation and modernization. Also the establishment of local producer processor linkage, so as to ensure that the quality and the other specifications of the market would also be met by these producers and processors. Also fostering partnerships among pork-related organizations. So we actually witnessed how dedicated our stakeholders are when it comes to the improvement of our pork industry and also the processed pork industry. Yeah, through the consultation workshops we have conducted. Then, of course, provision of access to financing, insurance, and investments, and through creation of policies, legislations, and ordinances. So we have set these strategies with the corresponding budget. So this will be coming from the Department of Agriculture. Okay, so in terms of the following strategies. Then we also have these policy recommendations to help achieve our roadmap objectives, like zoning and clustering, regulations of farms, tax incentives for slaughterhouses investment, and info dissemination is very important when it comes to the policies as well, and also the review and harmonization of standards, as well as importation policy against smuggled meat products. Then shared investments on modernization of facilities and equipment, incentive for patronage of local pork, innovation for R&D, and of course responsible and sustainable waste management, adherence to biosecurity standards set by the government, and also we aim to come up with a processed pork database, which can be hopefully shared across stakeholders in providing timely and accurate information, as we all know that the stakeholders for the processed pork value chain have to act concertedly and interdependently to be able to realize our vision. So we also propose the governance structure for the process pork industry roadmap. We have the National Process Pork Action Team coming from various agencies, and of course the Secretariat, also Regional Process Pork Action Team, up to the provincial, to the LGUs. So one of the unique features of this roadmap is it is anchored for inclusiveness. Hence, we also provided a platform by which the various stakeholders were united and were able to discuss the issues for a concerted crafting of solutions as well, and strategies and policies. And hopefully this will be formalized so that we get to have more commitment and participation of concerned stakeholder groups. And of course, as part of the process, it's important also to regularly monitor and review the roadmap for continuous improvement and effective implementation. So monitoring and evaluation will be very relevant. So it is with the hope of our team that this processed pork value chain roadmap will not only be put aside on shelves, but instead be put into practice if we are to aim an inclusive processed pork industry and also a sustainable processed pork industry. On behalf of the ATMI Philippine team, I'd like to thank you all very much for listening.
Thank you, Professor Manipol. If you have any questions for Professor Manipol, it's just unfortunate that she's not here at the moment, and that was actually a recorded presentation. So if you have any questions, please feel free to send it over to the CCAP Secretariat, and we will forward your questions to Professor Manipol. I'm sure that everybody among the audience is looking forward to the rebound of the local pork industry. Kasi ngayon, no, alam natin, ang presyo ng baboy ngayon is 400 pesos per kilo. And we know that once the local pork industry is able to rebound, that can also help us recover and sustain our food.